Ooh, what's good? My name is Axotol, and today, my friends, hello, I've been back. It's been about a month since I've released the last episode of this series. This is an episode on the prisoner starting class, the gameplay. We're gonna go through two areas, a little tips and tricks here and there, go through my opinions of said class, etc., etc., and just some early leveling gameplay and whatnot. What is our name today? Fuge Defexa. Gotcha. Beautiful name. So the prisoner, if you look to the stats on the left, has good chunk in dexterity as well as intelligence. The dexterity base is pretty good for most weapons. It's good. It's a good starting point for dexterity based weapons. It's also a good starting point for kind of the the quality based weapons. So quality is usually a weapon that uses both strength and dexterity semi equally, more or less. A lot of great swords have usually more strength than dexterity. Maybe some halberds have some strength dexterity scaling, but 14 is a good place to start. So this is a hybrid type build. He does start out with one spell, I believe, and I am almost done with the game, finally. Yeah, I know how long it's been. But that one spell I still use to where I am right now. In terms of like mana efficiency as well as damage output, it's pretty much the best. However, there is like a 5-second delay time in order to get that stuff going, but it is pretty good. So for the keepsake, don't worry about the Crimson Amber Medallion, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about the Lands Between Rune, pick up the Golden Seed. Fanged Imp Ashes doesn't matter. Crackpot doesn't matter. Don't pick up the Stone Sword Key and try and cheese that one area as soon as you spawn in, because that will make your life miserable, and it is not a beginner area. You're gonna need like 20 levels before you can even start going through there, because those are some high level enemies and they got a ton of HP and will smack you. Bewitching Branch? I don't remember what this does. Actually, it doesn't say. I have no clue what this does. Oh well. It doesn't matter, but pick up the Golden Seed. There are a lot of Golden Seeds in the game. However, picking this one up lets you immediately upgrade the amount of charges your heal has, so pretty good to start out with, and in we go. So I guess a quick PSA. There is a original boss. Well, we're gonna skip through all this dialogue, but there is a not original a starting boss. It's kind of meant to slap your face in and make sure that you don't have a good time. You're not supposed to beat it. That's what I'm trying to get at. Unlike Demon Souls, because Demon Souls has a same kind of thing going on with that. Unlike Demon Souls, you can actually access this boss again. However, you won't be able to get to it until the map is gone, but you gotta go all the way up to the north. Oh, I'll show you when we get the map fragments. So, it's good to kill this guy. If you can kill him, then his weapons is really nice, as well as the shield he drops, I'm sure is fine. There's no real need to use shields in this game, it doesn't really matter, but this guy probably can take on the boss. So the spell you have is a holdable spell. As you can see, we do some damage. Actually, not really. But the delay is definitely there, and we have no more mana. So it's rapier time, and that's that. Skip all the cutscenes, it don't matter. So this right here is the tutorial area. This is where you learn how to actually play the game. If you are new to the game, I highly recommend. If you are a veteran to Souls games, I still recommend to do this. There are unique mechanics like stealth Well, it's not unique, but it's definitely not in a Souls game before. It is in Sekiro, but that's besides the point. That being said, if you don't want to do it, there is a gesture that is up there at the very end, which is always worth picking up right out of the gate. So, on we go over here. I guess I should talk a little bit about the gear that this guy has. As I said, the Magic Glint Blade spell you start out with is actually very, very nice. It will carry you through the rest of the game. It's a bit finicky to get down at first and to learn the timings and everything, but once you do, it's a hard-hitting spell and it uses like no mana, so why not use it? Alright, so that being said, if you did pick up the Golden Seed and you rest at this bonfire, you can add your charge to your flask. Bada bing, bada boom, you now have 4 healing and 1 mana flask, which is very nice. If you picked up the Stone Sword key, you can go over here and use it there. However, in the starting area, there's like, you have access to, before you even fight the first like big boss, I should say, and if you know who that is, then you probably know what I'm talking about. You get to go to the hub area, and then at that point, without going to any other places in just the starting area, you have access to like 7 keys. So don't bother picking it up from the start. There's no point. Alright, so as you can see, this guy has mask. He also has clothes and not necessarily armor. That means that he will take a little bit of damage compared to the other ones. That being said, armor isn't really a necessity. It doesn't really amount to much in these kinds of games because you'll probably get 3-shot anyway if you don't heal in between. So make sure you pick this up. Once you do rest at these, you do get your health and mana filled back all the way to max, as well as all of your, your flasks. Flask of Crimson Tears, but it does reset the world state for everything that that does respawn, I should say. So make sure you pick this up. Make sure you activate these statues as well. They will always look like this. There's always one near a bonfire, more or less, as well as where a boss would spawn. Speaking of bosses, this is a boss. I would not recommend fighting him this early on, as this class at least, because he will one-shot you. That being said, if you want to get good at the game, go for it. Mess his day up as he messes your day up. So he does have a rapier, which is, a bunch of poking attacks. Personally, I'm not a fan of rapiers. I don't like them at all. I think their moveset is not interesting. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. There's nothing interesting about it. They don't do much damage. Alright, so here we are at Santa Claus. This is the smithing table. You can only get your weapons and shields up to +3, and then you would need to use somewhere else in order to upgrade stuff at a later time. This is Santa Claus. Make sure you talk to him and buy the crafting kit. It's very important. A big part of the game. Unique to this game as well, I believe. I'm not entirely sure on that, but it is a thing. So here we are, right? As you can see, there's no real map. However, there are these things on the map, and what you want to do is you can place a beacon down, and bam, it'll show up on your compass. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's a blue line over there. Well, we'll get to it when we get to it. He also has a shield, which, gives you madness and sleep resistance as well. It does have the parry effect, but I can't parry to save my life. So being able to parry is something that you would want to learn as early as you can. It would be very beneficial to you. His staff is also pretty basic, so there's no need to worry about that. We do one-shot backstab, but let me see. We can get aggro. Hey, you there. What you got for me? You missed. I missed. I missed my backstab. I missed my backstab. Okay, you know what? I'm done. It don't matter. Oh, wow. We got his armor. So if you listen closely and hear that noise, it kind of sounds like twinkling, sparkling, glowing, whatever you want to call it. That means that there is a scarab nearby, and there are a few different kinds of scarabs. The main ones that will plague your eardrums are teardrop scarabs. They will restore your health and mana flasks. The red ones will restore your health, the blue ones will restore your mana. That should be pretty obvious. But there are some that drop upgrade materials, and there are some that drop Ashes of War, which are your weapon arts in this game. For the rapier, you just have the Impaling Thrust, which is whatever. Most of the Ashes of War use mana, so keep an eye out for that. This statue means that you have the option of respawning next to the statue if you were to die within its range. Oh, right here, as you can see, there's a blue line. That's where the beacon is. You can see that from pretty much anywhere on the map. I don't want to spoil too much, but there are underground areas that you can mark and that have their own maps and stuff, but you know, keep an eye out for that. So don't fight these guys yet. Instead, walk all the way over here to this bonfire next to this castle looking thing. And here is where you get Torrent, your horse, as well as the ability to level up. You know, you can use your runes, which we have 192 at the bottom right. You can use those bad boys to level up. Make sure you sit down. That's all I can say. Alright, as before, I will skip dialogue. The only thing you need to do when you come to this choice is to hit accept. If you don't accept, don't worry about it. You can always talk to her again when at any bonfire. But until you do accept her deal, you won't be able to level up. So here we got Torrent. And while you can put him in these slots, you would have to switch through them down here. And you don't want to be calling Torrent in the middle of a fight when you can't actually call him, because then you'll just sit there and do an animation and then you'll get smacked and probably die because you're trying to heal. So instead, go over to the right side, and I believe it's these four that have access to the in-game commands. You want to hit switch and then slap on Torrent. So that way you can hold down your interact button and bada bing bada boom. There he is. Look how cute he is, and yes, you can double jump, but whatever, that don't matter. Alright, so in this little camp area, there is one item, or there's, how should I say it, there's two weapons, one next to us right in this little thing, there's one over on the other side. There's an important item that lets you switch out weapon arts, so keep an eye out for that. I will show you where, I believe that's it. No, there's also the map, which we did mark. See, as you can see, we can't really see much, but that's besides the point. So, that being the case, you know, try to stealth as much as you can in this area, because that guy over there, right in front of me, is locked on. He does have a horn, and if he sees you, he will call his buddies, and then the whole camp and all their dogs will come and mess your day up, which is not good. So there we are, Lord Sworn Greatsword. It's okay. It's a basic weapon. It just has a fancy name to it, so it don't matter too much. Keep an eye out for these skulls, by the way, the glowing ones, because the glowing ones, when you hit them, they will always drop a golden rune, and golden runes can be used to give you runes. Right now we have 256 at the bottom right, and that is used for literally everything and anything that you can buy. So Impaling Thrust is good if they're blocking. Oh. It's good if they're blocking. Oh. Come on. Alright, we're not dying to you. Okay, well, he stopped blocking. It'll do a good chunk of damage if they aren't blocking. If you are riding Torrent, by the way, you can literally just walk over the runes and spam Y, or whatever your interact key is, and it'll pick it up by itself. It'll break by itself, I should say, whenever you walk over something with Torrent. So here we are, we have the flail. Are you Horn Man? Does not look like it. So you can't hide in bushes. You can also pick up Roa Fruit, which is important because you can heal. Okay, well. Make sure you pick up Roa Fruit. That's how you heal Torrent in the middle of combat, or just in general. If you don't have enough and Torrent dies, you will need to use one of your own heals in order to revive him. So keep an eye out for that. There's a lot of junk in this game that can kill him fairly easily. So here we are. Bam. Bam. They do a lot of damage, but they need time to work, so keep that in mind. And there we are. We found the map. So as you can see, it was blank, and now it is not blank. Alright, so have fun. Explore everything around here. It's really a big area, and there's a lot of stuff in here. Going north, east of this area, is where you can have access to the portal that'll teleport you back to the first boss, which you can kill, and pick up his weapon there, but that is quite a ways, so keep an eye out for that. While I won't tell you what the weapon is, I will say that it does require a minor investment into not strength, into faith, so keep an eye out for that. This spell also has a limited range. Uh-oh. Oh! No! Okay, we died. That's fine. Alright, Captain won again. Feels bad, man. I should say that if you want this guy's armor and weapons, you can kill them over and over. Eventually, they will drop their gear. So here we died. Since we are in the area of the statue I mentioned earlier, you can revive at said statue. I will show you what that looks like. And then all we have left is like one major item. There is a few like stuff here and there, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just here to show you the important stuff, so that way you can, you know, still be able to explore and whatnot. Bam. So that golden like ghost looking thing, that is our souls. If you die before you pick it up, you lose everything that you lost before, and it will be replaced. So here we are. We got Storm Stomp as well as the Ash of War. Pretty good. You can run past these enemies. They won't follow you down here. I've done this literally every episode, every starting character up to this point, and none of them have worked their way down there yet. So, bada bing, bada boom. Alright, so let's go into combat with different kinds of enemies. And I'm going to put this out there now. You are going to have a rough time with dogs. Dogs will ruin your day, because your rapier doesn't do much damage. It doesn't scale off strength, so you don't one-shot the dogs. Your spell can kill them, but it will alert other dogs, I'm pretty sure. So it won't be fun, I'll say that. I don't have my lantern. Feels bad. So some of these areas can get pretty dark. There's a few merchants in the game. So if you see this bridge right here, there's another island south of here that you can get a map and have access to. I recommend doing this first before you try and mess with anything up in this area up here, because you will get a lot of healings, increase to your healing as well as increase to the amount you can heal. So it's pretty good to go down there first. It's a low level area as well. It's not going to be as rough as going through here real quick, so keep that in mind. Plus there's a merchant down there on that island somewhere that has a lantern, which means you get light around you. It's not crazy amount, but it's enough, and it helps a lot in darker areas. Alright, because the dogs are indeed very, very quick, they can dodge your spells, and the homing isn't fast enough to mess with them. So keep that in mind. So this dog has glowing eyes. That means he will drop more souls than normal. And I call them souls because that's what they are in these souls games. Alright, so the tracking's pretty good, I won't lie. But, they will drop more than normal, so keep an eye out for that. Alright, so we do two-shot them. The reason I one-shot this dog is because he technically was not aware of my presence, so it counts as a stealth hit. But if you want to do magic, and you know, there is a lot of it and there is very cool stuff, but if you're all looking to go into either faith or intelligence and you can't decide which is which, go into faith. Faith has like twice as much stuff going on for it than anything else. So we can backstab this guy. So you can cheese it. You can also parry a good amount of his abilities. I missed. I missed. There you go. Boom. And parrying does more damage than backstab, so keep in mind out for that. So as you can see, that takes a very, very long time for the spells to go off. And just like that, he's dead. Kind of a joke of a boss, honestly, at this point. Don't worry if you can't kill him. You know, if you're new to the game, it is what it is. But he drops a Flame Drake Talisman, which goes in this slot. It doesn't do much, so don't, like, there's no point in even putting it on. And that is that. So that is the basic gameplay of the Prisoner. He's very hybrid focused, I guess. How would I put this? If you want to do spells, use the Astrologer. A lot of spells. If you want a good start with Magic Glint Blade, it's a very good spell, as long as you can use it properly. So I'm not gonna go into how to do all this memorized spell crap, because that's gonna take freaking 8 years. But I will talk about the character itself a little bit more. So we have the S stock, which is a rapier. It does have scaling in dexterity. There are Ashes of War that lets you change the scaling into intelligence based, and it will split the damage from physical into physical and magic. So that is a thing if you want to use it. Personally, I can't stand rapiers. I think they're garbage, but it is what it is. The Glintstone Staff I think is okay. Fairly early on in the... Let me see here. Fairly early on, around this area, you get another staff, which is... Honestly, I have almost maxed out. It's literally one level less than what would be considered maxed out. And that one does a fairly good job of leveling up your sorceries, making them do more damage. The shield is okay. It has 76 physical damage absorption, which is pretty solid for a small shield, I would say. But the parry is not easy to parry with. However, having the option is good because now you can learn the timings. He does not have any arm equipment, unfortunately, and what he does have is very light, so keep that in mind. You will be taking a chunk of damage, more so than a dude in like full metal armor, right? But again, at the end of the day, it does not matter. Any of these classes really don't matter. The only thing that matters is the what weapon they have and what spells they use. The levels and stats themselves don't really matter. And I did mention this before, if you are on the fence about going into either intelligence casting or faith casting, or even arcane, I recommend doing intelligence last, because intelligence, I started out with this character as my first playthrough and the only playthrough that I have going, and intelligence feels very lackluster. Like, every time like you find something cool, it's probably going to have something to deal with faith more often than not. And I really wanted to, like, there's a lot of cool stuff, especially early on in the game. Again, the first area, there's a lot of faith stuff here, right? So this thing right here is a semi like mini boss right? It's an optional boss. He drops a faith spell. There's a dragon here. Right, there's an altar here that you can trade dragon hearts in, and that's all faith spells. Faith and arcane based. Right, there's another boss here. Probably has something to do with faith, who knows. This boss doesn't really give you anything, but the main boss here, up in here, both of his weapons that you can get from him are all faith based. There's a lot of faith stuff in this game and not enough intelligence stuff, and that's kind of sad. Plus the faith stuff is really cool compared to intelligence. So if you're on the fence, go into faith. Don't worry about intelligence. Intelligence is whatever, honestly. But yeah, I guess that's it. Honestly, I can't remember what I do because it's been 8 years since I've done any of these kinds of videos. So that being said, my name has been Axotol. This has been the prisoner base class. In terms of difficulty, that's right, that's what we did too. I don't think he's bad. I think as soon as you can, if you like the rapier, use it. But if you don't like it, it's going to be kind of rough until you get a decent weapon that you do like. Make sure it's got low base requirements. Other than that, his kit is pretty solid. The spell he starts out with is one of the best in the game, in my opinion. So it's the best in terms of clearing mobs or trash mobs. Like even bosses, if you want to, like, you can smelt bosses with it. But I don't know. Honestly, if you want to do magic, do faith. That's all I'll say about it. Faith is you have a lot more options with faith or arcane. And yeah. Oh well. On that note, my name has been Axotol again. This has been the prisoner class. Starting gameplay, whatever the heck you want to call it, again. Make sure you drink some water, and I will be here when you tune in next time. Now get some sleep.